Lesson 2 of Writing Effective Description, and it's Mrs. Bart again helping you to get ready for that all-important GCSE exam question that you're going to be attempting at the end of this lesson. For this lesson, you're going to need, just like last time, your booklet, a writing pen and the knowledge organiser page that's in your booklet. You could also use your trusty green pen and a dictionary and thesaurus. Again, if you haven't got those things ready, do press pause, go and grab them and press play again when you're ready. It's time for the do now. Again, we'd like you to pause and do the questions in the boxes provided on the booklet. Please try to do these without referring to any of the sources. Off you go, press pause. Let's see how you did. Well, the mnemonic PCTVSP stands for people can't touch very sharp pins, and of course each of those words stands for the most important thing that you've got to remember, which is what the examiner is going to be looking for when they assess your writing. Paragraphs, connectives, techniques, vocabulary, sentences and punctuation. Hopefully you've also remembered PM SOAPs, which runs through the most popular descriptive writing techniques that you could use. Question 3 is straightforward. Question 4, there are a number of possible answers for that, but if you've got something along the lines of the reason why it's important to plan your descriptive writing is to be intentional in crafting your work and to follow a method that helps you to remember all the important features that the examiner will be looking for. When it came to question 5, you had 4 choices. In fact, all of them are correct in their own way, but the best definition would be B. And that's simply because a good simile, while doing all of those other things, should help you to have a deeper understanding about the main thing that is being compared. More of that later on this lesson. Some of you, I hope you did, might have had a go at the challenge work. If you did, then again, there were many possible answers, and it was really asking you for your own opinion, your own thoughts. What do you feel most comfortable writing in, past or present tense, when you're writing a description? First or third person? There's no right or wrong answer for this one, but that question was designed to get you thinking about which mode you feel is most natural to you for descriptive writing. Press pause and check your answers. Press unpause when you're ready. Today's lesson objective is to think about what you need to do to grow as a writer first of all. Great writers will never produce great work in the first attempt. They will often polish and edit their writing to make it better. This is something that you can even do in an exam scenario. Once we've done that, we're also going to look at how to improve the quality of our figurative description. You'll remember from last lesson that student A produced some decent descriptive writing, but student B had a more high quality version of figurative descriptive techniques. We're looking at ways on how to make our figurative description higher quality and more imaginative, even in an exam. And the last part of the lesson invites you to tackle that exam question that you were introduced to at the start of last lesson, and you'll be able to take your time to craft your descriptive writing slowly and thoughtfully, checking paragraph by paragraph. If you remember, student A, she did follow the second box of the 4-box plan, some aspects, but there were others that she clean forgot to do. And then there were other things in her plan that she didn't do as well as she could. So what we're going to do now is to help student A to improve her work in specific ways. For this, you'll need to pick up your green pen and turn to activity 2 in your workbook. Look at the box that's next to that and on this screen at the bottom. There are 4 things that we would like you to do to help student A to improve her work. When you're ready, go ahead and write an improved version in the box for activity 2, and you can change as much of her work as you would like to. Off you go. Now it's time for me to recap and refine some knowledge that you should already know about the simile. We're going to deal with some misconceptions about the simile, and hopefully we're going to enrich the understanding and the knowledge that you already have. For this part of the lesson, you will need activity 3A in your workbook. The key points that I want you to understand about a simile, first of all, is that a simile is designed to highlight a connection between things. And there's a reason for that, because a good simile will want to do that to give you a deeper understanding of the object of comparison. A misconception that we often have about similes, or something that we often say when we're trying to define a simile, is that a simile is a comparison using the words like or as. Well, it is that, but a simile does so much more than that. By highlighting a connection between things, it should give you a much deeper understanding about the main idea or thing that is being compared. And that leads me to my last key point that I want to reinforce. If you want to create a good simile, then you're going to have to think really hard about things that have similar qualities to the main idea that you're making comparisons with. Take a look at the diagram at the bottom of this slide. Let's first of all remind ourselves that simile is part of a category of writing called figurative language. And figurative means that something is not literal but representative. If you look at the pictures, you will see that the dictionary will give you the literal meaning of a word. But then if you look at what's next to it, which is a no entry sign that you would commonly see out and about on the street, there's no words there. It's simply a red circle with a white rectangle in it, but you know that it represents the idea that you must not enter. Figurative is not literal, but representative. Have a look at the diagram just underneath that. If you have a look at the box on the left-hand side, you'll see something called a main idea or thing. That's thing A, if you like, the main thing that you want your reader to have a deeper understanding about. If you look at the box on the right-hand side, that represents the thing that you're comparing your main idea to. So when you say something is like something else, this is the something else that is like your main idea. We are connecting the main thing with something else that we are comparing it to. And hopefully that connection will give us a deeper understanding of the main thing. Now, in your example, there is a well-known simile that we use in everyday speech. Her head was like a sieve. In that example, the main idea is her head, and we need to learn something more about that. What is it being compared to? A sieve. A sieve is a kitchen utensil that's designed to drain things, to drain the extra fluid out of things. It's got lots of holes in it and it leaks out fluid. What are we learning then about her head? Well, The idea is that it's leaking out stuff, probably information that she ought to hold on to. And so now we have this deeper understanding that her head leaks out information. Probably her memory isn't as good as she'd like it to be. Her head is like a sieve. When I count down from 3, 2, 1, I'd like you to pause and explain the similes in the boxes of 3A. You can choose 1 or 2 to explain. 3, 2, 1, go. Now it's time to apply the knowledge. Pick up your writing pen and you're going to do some of that hard thinking that all writers have to do to write high quality, imaginative similes. Student A, whose work we were helping to improve earlier on this lesson, compared tall trees to towers. It's not a bad simile, but we've all heard it before. It's a cliche. So let's see if we can help her to improve it. She's trying to tell you something about the tall trees, how tall they are. So let's start thinking of as many tall things as we can. And let's write them in the thought bubble. Once you've done that, you can move on to the heart bubble, because another way of writing a high quality simile is by using upgraded vocabulary. So in the heart, I would like you to think of as many different ways of saying the word tall with upgraded vocabulary. Press pause. Think hard to fill in the thought bubble of things that are tall and the heart bubble of better words for tall. Off you go. Well, let's see what we can do here. Skyscraper is tall, very tall. So are the pyramids of Egypt, a giant, and a crane, which is used for making tall buildings. All good ideas. Better words for tall: towering, soaring, lofty, and elevated. Now, if we stop and take time to craft carefully, we could come up with a simile. Let's try. The rainforest trees, lofty as giants, towered up towards the sky. I hope you're happy with your recreated simile. And this is a technique that you can use over and over again to improve the quality of your similes. Let's move on to the main activity for your lesson today. We're going right back to something that I showed you at the beginning of lesson 1. This exam question, write a description suggested by this picture. You also have from lesson 1 your planned 4-box plan, which looks at the big picture, the main focus, the zoomed in detail, and then the big picture that's changed somehow. For the rest of this lesson, I would like you to take time to answer this question, following your 4-box plan faithfully. Remember, one of the most common fluency errors is when students write a good plan, but then they don't follow it. Remember to check each paragraph as you write it, checking as you go, and editing it for better vocabulary and any accuracy errors, each paragraph as you go. Don't wait until the end to check. It's absolutely fine to cross out words that you're not feeling as happy with better words. And I'm going to really look forward to reading your final descriptions of Brighton Pier in the picture stimulus. Thank you for your focus. Enjoy writing your descriptions.